Hey guys, how's it going? I hope everybody had a great day today. It ended the day green. If you didn't, I hope you reflected and looked at what you did wrong and you got a plan for tomorrow to make sure that you don't fall into the same boat again. So real quick, I got this question for you. It's very, very, very important. So I want to be real serious because this is going to determine pretty much what type of success you get out of trading. You have to ask yourself this question. Are you interested? Are you committed? Or are you fully committed to your trading? And it's very important because if you're interested, if all you are interested, that is a red flag. Now, everybody starts here. Everybody starts off being interested in trading. But if you get stuck here and you're just interested, you're not, you're scared that you might not make it and it's not easy enough for you to do it, and you just never really commit to anything, those are the results you're going to get. It's very important. These three levels are very important because based on where you are, that's going to determine your level of success. That's going to determine the trading results you get, because your level of commitment, how much you put into it, is exactly what you're going to get out of it. So, a lot of guys are interested. You come in just like I was interested. I saw Tim Sykes on TV flapping his hands and his gums and got me interested. So I dug a little deeper. So when we get interested, we start to investigate. We look into it. We try to get a feel for, is this what I want to do? Some people join communities. I have some people that join my community. They're not really sure about wanting to be a trader. They're not sure if they're able to put in the time or whatever the case is. That's the interested phase. And some decide that's not what they want. It's not what they thought it was, and they leave. Some people, like me, become not intrigued. I don't even know of a word strong enough. But I was hooked. And I loved it. I had a passion for it. So I became committed. And that's the next level we come to. We commit ourselves to it. But why is that in yellow? Why is that cautious? Why is that a caution? Because even though we're committed and we start taking classes, we start trying to position ourselves and get in the right place so that we could be a trader. But the caution part is we only do this in our free time. We say, when I get some free time, I'm going to work on my trading. When I get some free time, I'm going to watch this video. Or when I get some free time, I'm going to read this book. We're committed to learning, but we're just committed in the time that we have available. And we're only maybe 60, 70%, sometimes 80% committed. And those are the results we're going to get. The same inconsistent time and effort that we put into it, we're going to get that same inconsistency in our trading. If you don't believe me, think about it. Go back and assess your situation and think about where you are. And if you are just committed in the time that you have available and you don't have the same amount of time every day or every night, look at how inconsistent your trading is. Look how inconsistent the results are. So what we need to do is try to move to fully committed. And the reason why I know this is because I went through the same thing. You have to be fully committed. When you're fully committed, you go from, okay, I'm going to do this in my free time, to establishing this is when I'm going to do it. No matter what, from this time to this time, I'm working on my trading. From this time to this time, I'm working on my trading. And you give it 120% because you have that time earmarked. It's planned. You know exactly what you're going to do, and you're going to give it 120%. Now, the picture you're looking at here, this is my desk at work, or this was my desk at work when I was teaching. I had to do what I had to do. I was committed. I'm like, whatever I need to do, I'm going to make it happen. I had to get 2 computers because I couldn't get IT to install software where I could run 2 monitors off of 1 computer. So I had to have 2 computers, and I had my laptop. But I was committed. You know, I got to work 45 minutes early so I could build my watch list for the day before I started my job. Every morning it's the same thing. That time was dedicated. I gave 120%. If my phone rang at school, I didn't answer it. You know, that time was my time. I said from this time at lunchtime, I had that time dedicated for trading. Nothing else. At night, I had the 3 hours after my family went to sleep dedicated to my trading. I was fully committed. Now, did my job suffer? No. I gave 120% for the time that I was in my job. It got 120%. You know, my students still excel. We still won the competitions in the state. We still blew these guys out of the water. But I was giving my trading 120%. And it was showing the results. So I know wherever your level of commitment is, that's going to determine the results that you put in. And like I said, I'm not saying quit your job, because I did this. I worked 2 years and traded full time and gave both 110%. Was it tough? Yeah. But I put in that sweat equity, those blood, sweat, and tears. You know, my wife would come in at 4:30, 5 o'clock some mornings, and I'm laid out on the dining room table, you know, stretched out, because I fell asleep. I worked till I couldn't work anymore. And that's the dedication, that's the commitment it's going to take. Now, anybody can do this. I'm telling you, anybody can do it. But not everybody is willing to put in what it takes to get there. And that's going to be the determining factor. And no, a lot of people aren't going to tell you how hard it is. They're not going to tell you how much it's going to take. Because if you realize that, they're not going to get as many customers. But I don't really care. You know, I only want to work with people who are serious about learning, that you're ready to make that commitment. You know how tough it is, and you're ready. You want to change your life. You know, you want to change the life of your family. Because this isn't about me. This is about my family. It's the life that I promised them and the life that I want to share with them. So, you guys think about it. Are you interested, or are you stuck on interested? And you really want to do this thing, you're going to have to commit, and you're going to have to fully commit. You know, you can jump committed and go straight to fully committed. But you're going to have to be, if you want the consistency and you want the results, you're going to have to fully commit yourself to what you're doing. And I don't care if you trade stocks, options, futures, Bitcoin. I don't care what you trade. If you're going to be successful, you're going to have to be fully committed to it. If you're not able to give it 120%, you're not going to get the results. Or the results won't be consistent. That's what it boils down to. All right, so let's take a look at our day here. I had several stocks on watch. I think I had HTZ, I had IONS, and I had NVRO. Well, what I do is the 30 minutes leading into the open, I'm watching to see what stocks are setting up. What stock I believe is going to set up first. Well, this morning I had no clue. So I had to wait for that first 5-minute candle to print. And I had to wait for a little bit. So you can see this is the daily chart on NRVO. We were, opening right around in here. We were in this gap here. I forgot to mark this pivot here too, but we had some room. There were some pivots in here, but we had some room. And I thought, this would be good to put on watch as well. So we opened over here. We opened, we pushed up, and you saw it, this was a gap down. Okay, but we pushed up, and we tried to make a new high relative to the 5-minute opening range high. It did very quickly, but then it pulled straight back. We got back below the moving averages, and this candle actually closed below the opening range low. And so when this candle, this is my this candle is my signal candle. Once this closed below the opening range low, that signaled me that my setup was taking place. Now the trigger to enter is the next candle opening and making a new low relative to this candle. Once it broke the low of this, that's when I got in. That was my trigger. And this thing worked. I mean, it worked so beautifully. The first candle down hit my first target. And the next candle opened and the damn thing went straight back up. It wasn't long before it stopped me at how long did it take? Okay, I took my first profit. Let's see, I got in short 76.50, 100 shares. 9.49. I took my first profit at a point, and I was looking for another point plus, and the damn thing turned around, and within a minute and a half, I was stopped out. It didn't take long for this thing to turn around and come back. This was a beautiful setup. This is exactly what I look for every day. I look for it. I'll take this every day if it happens. It just, today, we didn't get the follow through. All of a sudden, it hit that level, and it got bought up. It ran into some mad men, I guess, and they just bought it straight on up. So that was that. Only about 50 bucks on this. Was a little bit disappointing, but I was okay. But what really burned me up was HTZ. Now, I was waiting on HTZ too. HTZ put in this crazy candle at the open, which kind of like, maybe I don't want to mess with this. But then it went up and tested, so I felt, let's see what this is going to do. It didn't go below this. It didn't close below it. It looked like it was bouncing. So that's why I went to NVRO. And so when I got out of NVRO, I got back over here, and this damn candle washed all the way out. It didn't give me a chance. I wasn't chasing it. My strategy is it has to close below the 5-minute opening range, establish below it. The next candle has to make a low I could get in. This had no trick. This was the signal candle here. No way I'm entering all the way down here. No way. This candle took up all of the room here. I think there was a level right here around 1880 or 1875. I can't remember, but It was just too close. So this was very frustrating. This one, my level of frustration got higher because I got the right stocks. We got a nice group of stocks. They're all making moves, but I ended up missing this. And, you know, just because of the way the market worked, it just worked. You know, I went from, you know, getting stopped out here because this didn't follow through to not being able to get in. But I got to stick to my rules. Yeah, I could have chased this. I could have got in somewhere in here. But I'm not going to chase it. I'm not going to set a bad precedent. I'm not going to set a bad example. Because that's not what this is about. So I just pretty much let it go. And you can see this thing, had I locked into this stock, you know, I could have traded it all day pretty much. So we did find a stock to trade here. This CWH, this hit our reversal scan. The other beautiful thing about this was it made a 52-week low. This was a prior 52-week low right here. On its sell-off at the open, we sold off, but we bounced. Beautiful rejection here. This is beautiful trend continuation. Right off the 9 and VWAP here. Once we got under it, I took a piece of it and just pieced this thing out. I milked it for as much as I could. 22 was my final target. We got down to like 22.15 or so before it bounced and ended up stopping me out on my profit stop. But this was as beautiful of a trade as you can have. If I'd have been in front of my computer, I probably would have clicked it here. But I was at lunch, went to the driving range and just left, you know, let this work. I was looking for it to sell off some more during lunch. But I had my profit target in, and I had my profit stop set. So, you know, I wasn't worrying about it. And I make it a point to take lunch every day. Now, sometimes I'll take my computer with me, but I get away from my platform. For my sanity and for your sanity, you don't want to sit here and look at this market all day long. Some days it will drive you crazy. And if you don't have a trade, then you're going to force yourself to find a trade that's not a good setup, and you end up losing money. So either way, whether I'm up, whether I make money, whether I lose money, it doesn't matter. I'm going to take a lunch break. And I'm going to come back. I take it early so that I could come back and be in as we're coming out of lunch. So any moves or anything happening coming out of lunch, I'll be there for it. But this was a beautiful trade. Waited for it to set back up again. Got in as we broke back through the 20 and the 9. And it started to work, but it was really, really slow. And we started to change direction. So I ended up getting out here with a little profit. And it came back and set up again. So I'm like, well, it's after 2 o'clock now. This could be one of these that will sell off and fade into the close, and I'll probably get that 22. Took some profit here on this big dip and left the rest on to see if we're going to get 22. But, you know, right, I guess people in Suretrader had to cover, because right around the time close to 3:30 hit, this thing started to take off. I guess people had to cover their positions, but you know, it did pull back down, and it just didn't do what I wanted it to do. But all in all, it was a good day. 325.28. We are still trading small. Going to continue to trade small size. 300 shares on a $20 stock is small, because I could easily go 500 shares on this. but I'm sticking to the smaller size. I'm sticking to the plan, sticking to the process. You know, and these higher dollar stocks, only 100 shares. You know, could have done 200 here, but remember, I'm dealing with the spread. So, you know, had to be smart about that. So I did take one other trade here. Now I'm disappointed in myself on this one. Got in VRX on the reverse, on the rejection. Beautiful, exactly what I look for every day. And I convinced myself that this wasn't going to work. It kept dipping down to the 20s, and it just got bought back up. Every time it dipped down, it got bought back up. And I watched this for 10 minutes. And after 10 minutes, you know, I was just frustrated. And I cut it off. And then on the next candle, it hits the next two candles, hits my first target. And then eventually it comes on down and hits my second target, my ultimate target here. So I would have taken profit here, here, and through here. But, you know, this is the worst trade of the day. You know, going back through, I realized, you know, this was a case where I actually saw this going up, and it wasn't going up. But in my mind, I visualized it. And this is one of these cases where I convinced myself that this was about to bounce when it didn't really show me any signs of bouncing. The only thing it showed me was that there's a guy here buying up. And I knew, and I even said it in chat. I mean, I said it, as soon as this guy gets taken out, this thing's going to drop right to the 100, period. And then potentially down to the 200. That's exactly what happened. But, you know, this was a case where I did not execute the way I should have. And, you know, I paid the price for it. Probably could have had a $400 day. Another $400 day. And that's all we need. All we need is one $400 day a week. And then a couple, you know, $100, $150 days. And we'll have a good week. You know, because remember, we're in the account growing mode. We're in the taking profit and growing our account. Developing the skill that we need to get to that next level. And that's what we're doing every day. So that's going to do it for me today. We'll get back at this tomorrow. We'll be ecstatic if I can make another $300 day tomorrow. I might take Thursday and Friday off if that's the case. But, you know, we're having fun. Even though we get frustrated sometimes. It's all about having fun, making light of it, enjoying this profession. Because if we don't enjoy it, it's going to eat us alive. All right, guys, so take care. Have a good night, good evening, and I will see you guys first thing in the morning.